Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Olga Boyko. I'm a coordinator of Climate Action Network in the region of Eastern Europe, Caucasus, Central Asia. And a while ago, we've had a meeting with our NGOs from the region, and we understood that there's some lack of understanding how to take part in some big international climate events like Conference of Parties. Some people are not sure what is needed, how to register, where is the link to register to COP. So yeah, this meeting is for all of us to go through step by step, understanding there's no link to register to COP. There's a long process, maybe not as scary as it seems, but it takes some time. And we have here with us people who went through this process, and we're not only going to talk about how to do it, but we also hopefully will discuss why is it important, right? Because this is just another conference. People are becoming more and more skeptical of international climate negotiations and conferences in general. But we keep showing up there. And as you know, our region is underrepresented on those spaces. If you've been there, you would know that you don't have many of your colleagues present there, not many of the journalists, etc. So we actually want to change that. We want to have more diversity at those international spaces. And for that, yeah, you are all here. So please take this opportunity, because we will then post the recording, and everyone who didn't join today, they will just watch the recording. So you have this opportunity to actually interact, to ask your questions, maybe share your experience if you are not a speaker, but you also been to the climate conference. So there will be time for that. Every speaker will say when it's appropriate. Yeah, but until then, please keep your microphones muted and keep your video on if you want. It's always nice to see real reactions, emotions, especially for the speakers when they share their presentations. Okay, so let's start. And first, I want to introduce you to Mariam Devidze. She's a member of our network representing Green Alternative from Georgia. I guess I will just introduce all of you at the same time, and then you would interchange during the presentation, right? We also have with us Evgenia Zasyadka from EcoAction Ukraine, and we will be joined a bit later by Angelina Davidova, who is also here. She's a journalist, and as it was mentioned in the description, she has been to 12 climate negotiations already. So as a journalist in many cases, but also I guess as an NGO, so she definitely knows her way in, and she will be sharing it with you today. We also have Maria Kolesnikova, just to kind of mention something for the future, because tomorrow we will have the same exact meeting, but in the Russian language. So Maria will be sharing her experience, and myself tomorrow. Maria is from Move Green, Kyrgyzstan. So yeah, we have quite an interesting, diverse group of speakers. I will not take any longer of your time. Just want to pass the word to Mariam, and then Evgenia, you can come in as you see better fit. Thank you so much. Let's start.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Olga, for initiating this event, and because I also think it's really important to be aware of what is the process for the accreditation, why it's important, and what we need to do. So now we submitted our application for the accreditation last year. We haven't been fully admitted yet, but this is what I try to recall from what I did. So in case you have more questions or you will need to know more, I'm happy to share. But so far I have some main aspects you need to know. How to make it?
maybe just put the right side. You see this slider, just to close the menu on the right, the gray arrow.
Here you mean?
No, on the right. Yeah, there's a vertical gray line. I don't know how to explain, to the left.
You mean here?
Yeah, but to the left, there's this small little panel, a gray one. Okay, not exactly like this, but to the right. Yeah, this one.
But
It
is it
closes
fine?
this menu, and now you can also close the menu on the left.
But
Yeah,
is it fine?
I think
Okay.
it's fine. I think it's fine. It's not distracting
Okay.
too much.
Okay, so I will try to go through this according to the questions Olia told me. So we will discuss what is the UNFCCC in general, why we need to register, what is the timeline, what documents do we need to submit and where, and if they will reach out during the year and what to expect. So in general, I guess most of you already know what is UNFCCC, but I will just mention it briefly, that it's a convention that had been ratified by 197 states and different actors, like including EU. And it is the foundational treaty that has been provided a basis for international climate negotiations, including agreements such as Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement, and the recent ones, probably you are also following. It has Secretariat, which is the entity tasked to support the global response to this threat of climate change. And all these parties, they meet once a year, and we call it Conference of Parties, which is the main decision-making body of the UNFCCC, and all these representatives of these countries are attending this. So this is like Conference of Parties and other events that we are targeting for this accreditation, which I'm gonna go through now. So why? In order to attend any sessions or meetings of UNFCCC, like including COP or SPs or other official events, non-governmental organizations have to be registered and admitted by the Conference of Parties as observer organizations to the UNFCCC process. So this is like we will get observer status for these, and there are three. So there are different kind of status of attendees that UNFCCC processes. One is party members, so representing the Conference of Parties, like parties from the states, and then we have press and media representatives, and the third one is observer organizations. Observer organizations are like categorized into three types. One is UN system and agencies, intergovernmental organizations, we call it NGOs, such as like international banks, organizations, and non-governmental organizations like us. And in general, NGOs represent a broad spectrum of interests, like it includes representatives from business and industry, environmental groups, indigenous communities, local governments, youth organizations, women, labor unions, and so on. So all these are united as an NGO group, and we get we receive this observer status. So observer admission as observer organization status is only one of process, and we don't need to register every time like before the conference. So once we are granted this status, we can apply to attend the UNFCCC through this online application system, and Zhenya will tell us how this process goes. But now I will go through this process. How do we need to get this accreditation as an observer? So there is this manual. You can have a look. No, it's a list of admitted organizations already. So there is a long list of all organizations who already got admitted as observer organizations. If you want to know if there are some organizations from your country or region for this COP. So again, there are more reasons why we need to register in the UNFCCC. So not only it gives us the opportunity to attend these events, it also enables us to apply and host a side event or exhibition booth. So if we have this status, we can apply for this opportunity as well. Another opportunity is also to be once we are admitted, we will have affiliation to the constituencies. There are different constituencies under UNFCCC, according our field of work, if we are if we work on labor rights, or if we work on environment, youth involvement, or so on. So there are different constituencies, 9. So we will get this affiliation, and we can cooperate with among these organizations better, or also get informed what has happened during COP about these topics and so on. So you will find more information on the web page, and I haven't tried that too much. This is mostly Climate Action Network, who I'm socializing with and exchanging the knowledge during these events. But I wanted to say here that there are more opportunities to be engaged with other civil society groups. And we can also submit submissions of information views or making statements during the conference or after that, and they can be also published on their official web page. Yeah, probably Zhenya, I guess she will tell us more about this process, how it goes. Now to discuss about timeline, how is it? So this is the screenshot from the UNFCCC web page, and so this process is in general really long process. So I submitted this application last year before August for this COP, COP 28. So now the call is opened for the next COP, and the deadline is 31st of August. So there is more than a month left, so I think it's sufficient time, and I really recommend you, if you are willing to submit your application, to start the process as early as possible. But for this COP, as you haven't submitted and there is no opportunity left to submit your application to apply, to participate this COP this year, my organization or other organizations, you can ask for help and pages for this year, but for next one, I hope you will also get accreditation. And how the process goes, it's after submitting our application, we received this letter last year, this year in February, that UNFCCC confirmed, and we got admitted by UNFCCC, but it has to be approved by COP. So they told us that they would inform about final decision by June this year. So it's already July, but we haven't received any information, but I hope it will be soon, so we can start preparation for the COP. But they informed us that we should not, we are not eligible to apply for side events yet until we receive final admission. But we can already start preparation. So about the documents, what do we need to submit and where? So there is a guidebook also about this admission process, how it goes, and it's quite detailed information given there. The eligibility criteria, they are more, but the main ones are that our organizations have to be furnished proof of independent juridical personality. It should be at more than 1 year old at least, because we need to submit the budgeting from the last year. So it's like one of the main criteria is that we have to complete it at least one full accounting year. And our organization must demonstrate competence in matters covered by like UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol, or Paris Agreement. And I will tell you how we did that. So submissions are only online through this OS system, online admission system. So there is, I'm sharing the link of the manual, which explains really in a detailed manner how, what is the process, how you should open your account on these, how to upload all these documents, which documents you need, and so on. So that's why I didn't include too much information in here. So if you go through this manual, you will find all the information. But in case you don't understand something or you need more clarification how I managed it, let me know. But if there are any technical errors, you can send email to their, and there is also email written there, so you can approach them directly. Applications are only accepted in one of the 6 official UN languages, but they are for example, registration of the documents are mostly issued in our national languages. So official translation is needed in this case, in English or in Russian, out of these 6 official languages. So about the documents, what we need, one of the documents we need is a letter of application from the head of the organization. And we don't need to improvise too much. There is a template given in the OS system. Like when you go to this upload document page, you will see there is a template. You will download it and adjust to your organization information. Then is copies of signed or certified articles of associations, bylaws, statutes, or constitution detailing the mandate, scope, and governing structure of the organization. Also, certificate of registration, establishment of the organization, stamped and signed by the government authority, certificate of non-profit status. So I guess if the organization is officially registered, you all might have these documents already, so you don't need much time to prepare them already. Also, you need a financial statement of the organization of the most recent accounting year, including income and expenditure breakdowns. And then you also need a list of names of all donors and other funding sources in the last 2 years. And they said it's confidential. And so what I did was just I made a table showing all these details, like who are donors, which kind of project we implemented in years and activities and so on. Then you need evidence of competencies in the matters covered by UNFCCC. and evidence should not be older than 12 months. So what I did here was I made a document and I wrote all these papers. We produced blog articles, reports about climate, energy, like related to the climate, what publications we had. And I wrote brief descriptions of the of all these reports. So you can also do the same. Then another document you need to submit, it's list of networks your organization is part of. So again, I created another document describing all these networks and what are our roles in these networks. So you can do it as you like, as you wish, and include some information you think it's important and relevant. So this is mostly like these 2 pages, like what are written here. These are the documents required by UNFCCC, and you will see more details about this in the manual. So, and the last point, will they reach out during the year? So they haven't reached out to us like about some clarifications, but in the application you will see that they say they might reach out to you in case they need some clarification or additional information. And you will receive this information online in this system, but you will also get email to this email address you will be registered through. And small information just to share. This is how it looks when you upload all these documents, like the one under the second. You can submit more than one document under these required fields. But for me, like it took me a while to realize, like when I was trying to submit it, it was in red. So, and then I realized I had to name all these documents individually. So like this, you will see the space that you need to name them. So it took me a time to realize what it needed from me, why it didn't allow me to submit all these documents. So yeah, I think that's it. I wish you good luck through this process, and I think it's really important. So I really encourage you to do that. And in case you need something, we are here to support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mariam. I think you've mentioned that the deadline for the next year is 31st of August, right? Just to stress it again.
Yeah.
That's why we wanted to do this meeting as well in July. So in case you get inspired and you want to start this process, how long did it take you to gather all these documents and fill it in and upload?
Yeah, so most of the documents, like about the organization, registration, bylaws, and everything, we have these documents organized already. So it didn't take me so long to collect them. But as I mentioned, I needed to create some additional documents about our competencies, list of networks and donors. Maybe like we already had, but we needed to adjust and leave just last 2 years. So it took several days, but depending on your context, I don't know, you might not have some documents already prepared, like from the organization. So I really recommend you to do this as early as possible, like, or at least start collecting all of them. And through this process, like creating this account doesn't take long, and this manual gives you all these details. And you just need to fill the information about contact persons and then upload the documents. So it doesn't take long, but just to ensure that you have sufficient time, you can already start preparation.
Thank you so much. So I'll pass the word to Evgenia. And in the meantime, if anyone has questions, you can put them in the chat and we can, yeah, I guess we can accept a question. Anissa, hi.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
I'm sorry, my internet is quite weak. I cannot turn on my camera. Hello, Olga. Thanks a lot for narrating this meeting. Dear Mariam, I'm glad to see you. It's been a while. Thanks a lot for very informative presentation. And I just wonder, for some documents which our organization, for instance, has, it's in Tajik. Did you notarize anything officially in English, or like provision in national language and then providing a translation is enough?
Hi, Anissa. Happy to hear from. I can't see you, but happy to hear from you, and that you are interested to get accredited. So about your question, they only admit the UN working languages, but they say, they said like the registration documents of our NGOs, for example, for sure will be in our national languages. So official translation is needed. So you can, like, what I did was first page was Georgian, and then I merged all these documents, Georgian and English translation versions, and you can also do it in Russian.
I guess the question was also, is it enough to just add the translation, or you have to notarize it, like go to an official?
Yeah, it should be
that, like, with a stamp, that this translation is eligible to be a translation, right?
So it should be officially authorized translation, yes, and like you can submit together, and then it's fine. But only submitting national language document, it's not enough.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you so much. Let's move to Evgenia, and you can think about any other questions you might have.
Yeah, we'll try to be brief, so we would have a bit more time for discussion questions. So my name is Evgenia. I'm head of climate department in a Ukrainian NGO called Eco Action. We're based in Kiev, and we applied to be as an official observer under UNFCCC in 2017, and we got approved in 2018. So actually, everything what Mariam was speaking about, we went several years ago. So I don't remember actually a lot, but it was easy actually. So we, same as Mariam, we had a lot of translated documents. So we didn't need to do any additional work. Yeah, maybe I created some documents, but it wasn't that hard. Mostly it was this a long period of waiting of any decisions and so on. And I think with our case, they're also delayed. So I remember that I was contacting them, do you have any answers? Do you need any additional documents? And I think I even sent them some additional documents they was asking. And usually when you apply, and there is a separate, you have an account, let's say, where you can have this chat. So it's not emails just sent in. There is also a possibility to chat, and all this discussions is saving in the account. So I also have a presentation for you, but mostly I'm going to talk about what does it mean to be observer, and maybe will help you to make the final decision to join or to understand your role also, and maybe to understand what can give it to you as an official observer during the conference.
And Evgenia, I just want to quickly check, because Ophelia has been holding her hand, whether it's something urgent you want to ask right now, or Ophelia, or you want us to come back to you a bit later. Sorry. Ophelia, are you with us? Because you just rose your hand and it's hanging, so I don't know. Do you want to ask a question right now? You're muted. Yeah.
Yes, may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I guess.
Yes, my question. Yes, if I'm affiliated in an international organization and I'm a member of the NGO, does it make sense, like there be any kind of intervention, like does it go all together? Okay, if I can apply for like my organization has this accreditation, but as I am affiliated with the UN, am I allowed to represent the NGO like at UNFCCC, or it will be a kind of problem?
I can try and quickly answer. So as when you, I know that you work with Hazir, so from Armenia, and these are our members who actually have accreditation for many years. And you can give your badge with the name of your organization to anyone who you trust. And I, for example, had a Hazir badge at some point in some of the conferences, because you can share it freely. Hopefully it will not change in the future. But maybe Evgenia will say that this year they started asking a bit more questions. But in general, when your organization is accredited with UNFCCC, you can give your badge to anyone, to any activist that you trust and you want to support going there. It doesn't matter where they work. They don't ask you to prove that this person is part of your team or something like that. So that's good, and that's how we've been, that's how we've been using this for the past years. But we still have a very limited amount of organizations that have registration. So it would be great to have more organizations that can actually provide badges. So it's not for you. It's not definitely not an obstacle.
Yes, if I'm a volunteer with my NGO, it's quite okay.
Yes, completely okay. Even if you are partners, if you know each other very well and you want to support each other, that works as well. And just to finish with the comments, Maria wrote that they didn't notarize the translation. However, there is no response yet. So she has no idea if the Secretariat will reach out, provided or not, to ask to provide this notarized official translation. And Olena said that in their case, they also didn't have any additional documents, but they also didn't get a response either. And you applied in December 2021. Okay, so I guess that goes to the same period as, because the deadline was end of August 2022. So I guess, yeah, you will get a response as well, hopefully. Okay, thank you so much. I guess that's all for the questions for now, and we will give the floor back to Evgenia.
Yeah, but I think also based on the comments, I think at least, Olena, you should try to contact them via this message box that they have and ask them, like remind them about yourself. I don't know how this system is working, so I was like constantly remind them and chatting with them. So in the end, we received this official approval, so just try to contact them and maybe it will help. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about when you're already as an observer. So how does it function? What can you have from it? And so on. It's not clicking. Oh, okay, that's fine. So yeah, I want just to clarify who is the observers during the conference. So it's a representative of. First of all, yeah, I'm gonna start from the participants who usually is joining. So it's a representative of parties to the convention and the observer states. It's representative of observer organizations who's usually NGO and INGO, who usually we are. And it's a member of press and media. So it's like three type of members who can join the conference, but of course, like in the end, you can, as an observer, NGO can register some journalists if they didn't get official badge, or the parties, for example, in Ukraine case, and I know like in Russia and some maybe other countries, they bring in business or some other representative under their parties' badges. So it's like officially they have these three types, and after like the whatever, like you have a space and possibility to register these people, you can register some other, not only NGOs. I mean, And actually, it just for the note, the parties, it's like usually our ministries, like the focal point official, like from the countries who they represent, they usually have unlimited list for the representatives. So in case you're not registered, but you want to go to the COP, you can reach your ministry, who's usually leading these negotiations during the conference, and ask them to register. So if you have like a good relationship, usually it's the case, and they can just give you a party badge. It's the party badges, they also have different types, so you're not gonna participate like in official negotiations, but still you're gonna at least like have a badge and have the possibility to follow and be present there. Check. Yeah, and the observers. So we have a United Nations system and its specialized agencies. We have intergovernment organization and we have non-government organizations. So usually we are NGO, and so this is three type of organizations who is observers during the negotiations and participate in just as observer, and we can't be present in the negotiations and try to like participate in these negotiations. We can only advocate, but I'm gonna talk about this later. I also found this interesting graphic about how many observer organizations have been submitted, like registered during the recent years. So you can see that the numbers is growing, especially during the last few COPs. So that's why we actually at this time during the Bonn we faced that, for example, that big networks of NGO who's usually received like a lot of badges, and so they was able to allocate these badges to the member organizations. All of that was cut because the capacity is lacking, and more NGO is applying for official badges for the conference. So that's why it's actually good to register by yourself. So in case like there is no possibility to register you via Ken or someone else, so at least you're gonna have your badges official. Maybe the number would not be high. Like in Eco Action last year, we received 4 badges. The previous year it was around 3, I think. I don't know how do they allocate them, on what depends it, but yeah, it's what we have. How many badges we're gonna have this time, we don't know, but we'll see. We're still waiting, and I have the slide later about the badges and quotas and everything. I also wanted to say about opportunities to be as observers. So first of all, you can have official events on UNFCCC platform. So you are present there and you can, so usually it's a bit hard to be separate from the conference and not to tell you a lot of details about how it's going inside, but there is like different zones. And for example, there is a blue zone where the negotiations is happening. And there's also official exhibits, official side events. So you as an observer can have a possibility to apply for the official events. And for example, Eco Action applied for the official events. The deadline for the COP was last Friday, I think. So there is like a just super short gap to apply for the event. But still you have this possibility. As a life hack, you need to try to find other organizations with who you can combine the side events. So usually if it's only one NGO is applying, there is very minimum possibility that they're gonna give you a platform to do this event. So they're usually eager to have like organizations who is like communicating and working together. So for example, we have a representative from Ukraine, from Georgia or Moldova, I don't remember, from Moldova maybe. And 3 or 4 NGO from Ukraine, and not only who is like applied for the joint side event. So from this side, we have like a higher possibility that they're gonna give us this chance to have this official side event. And why it's important to have this official side event, there is a much higher coverage of this event. So when you're present there, there is like a lot of possibility to see the program, TVs, screens, apps, and everything, and all of these events you can like see from different resources. But if it's, for example, you can also organize a side event in how it's called, this I forgot the name of where we can organize the events, not only as official. So yeah, there is a possibility to organize not official side event, not under UNFCCC. There is a venue, small venues, which hosted by different countries or different organization, and you can apply there. But usually the coverage is much smaller because less people is following. There is like hundreds of these venues, small venues inside. So it's sometimes just hard to follow what's happening and where like to not lose something. So when you're applying for the official side event, there is a much higher possibility that a lot of decision makers, media, and whatever you're trying to like invite and cover gonna see it.
Just maybe to say that we have a couple of more minutes so that we also have time for Angelina and for the press badge.
Yeah, I'm gonna go brief. Actually, I can share this presentation to you, so you're gonna see everything. But yeah,
it's fine. We can go through all of this. This is why we're here. But just maybe just
be brief. Yeah, so there is follow the negotiations and to be able to provide tailored substantive inputs to the parties, making joint consequences statement in the plenaries, hold bilateral meetings with the government. That's usually what the action is doing during the COP. Like we're trying to arrange meetings and talk to our government to understand what's the agenda, what's happening, and maybe also to bring like our positions that we usually also have before the COP. There is also showcasing and advocacy through the press conference, side events, that's what I said already, and develop position papers and making formal submission in a response for the call for information and review by negotiations by this. So this is usually how the COP looking. So you have a blue zone, and if you're official NGO and you receive the badge, so you have access to the blue zone and can participate. But there is also different zones like green or offsite events, which is organized by some different NGOs or parties or whatever, but the biggest interest usually to be present in the blue zone because all negotiations and all the meetings, not all, but a lot of meetings is happening there. What's important when you're observer, don't forget to register. So we have a few cases that the people who already are observers, they just forgetting to apply for to receive a quota. So first of all, you're applying to get the quota. And for example, this year until 21st July, we have deadline for apply for the quota. And for example, like action gave a list like of 6 or 8 people who's working on eco action. So they are showing the interest that we want to come to the COP. So if you're not applying for the quotas, it means that you're not going there, and they not give you any quotas. So don't forget to check. And usually when you're observer, so you have a focal point in your organization. You have this one email who is receiving different messages from UNFCCC. So they can give you a possibility, they reminding you that you need to apply for this quota, and not to forget that please apply and if you're planning to join. So when you observe it, don't forget about that. So usually it's like somewhere in summer you need to apply for the quotas, and after a deadline they're gonna give you this quotas 3, 4, 7, 20, depends like how big organization, how many people you also applied for the quotas at the beginning. And here is just like as example. So this I applied for the COP28 to allocate the quotas. So we don't know how many places are we gonna get. And for example, during SBS session in Bonn that was in June, the deadline was on 24th March, and we received 2 quotas per week for offline participation. And this is a new stuff. It's there is a possibility to join negotiations online and receive online badge, and we received the 5 spots. So there is also, so if you don't have money or chance to go, didn't get the visa, or like many other problems that people can face before going to COP, you also can apply to join online. Just don't forget to apply for a quota so they can allocate it to you. And yeah, about the events, I just wanted to mention that there is a separate page where you apply usually for the event. So you can see that here was like a so from Monday 27 June until Friday 7 July, so the gap is very short. You can apply for the event and merge them, which is important to make the higher possibility and chances to receive this possibility to organize this event. And life hacks. When you're applying for quotas, it's not necessary to submit the final list of from the organization. Here I meant that you don't need to have a final list of the people who is going to the COP. So you can just apply like some list of the people who's now working in your NGO, so at least they would see that there is an interest and someone is planning to go from your NGO. But when you're allocated the quotas, you can change the list, you can add more people, you can delete someone, you can understand who is going for the first week, who is going for the second week. And by the way, you can like separate, and usually we have sometimes example when some group of people is going for the first week, some group of people going for the second week. So there is a possibility to mix it and to understand a bit later who is going when and to change it. So don't worry, you don't need to have this final list in the end of July to apply and to not have a chance to change it. After the quotas are allocated, the list can be changed. So it's what I said. And even after the conference start, you can change it as a focal point participant list. So we had the experience that some of our colleagues couldn't enter Poland, but we already applied for the badges. So there was a chance. So when you're observer and you're focal point, you can change the list. It's possible. So you need just contact and ask them to do it. So yeah, that's as an observer, it gives you a lot of possibilities to be present, to change, and to advocate, to organize events, and so on. I'm gonna start.
Thank you so much, Zhenya. And just to clarify the last thing, focal point is the person who actually goes through this procedure and uploads the documents, right? This is you, this is Mariam, and
Yes
they
no.
know it, like you put your email, so then they can contact you directly.
Yeah. There
So
is
you
like one person. It can be same who applied, or you can give like some other email who is gonna be a focal point from this NGO, who is gonna receive these emails.
Okay, thank you so much, Mariam. If you have any questions also to everyone, please put them in the chat. And now, after Mariam says her words, I will pass to Angelina directly.
Yeah, just to add what I forgot to mention, it's like next COP will be hosted by Eastern European countries. So there are already proposals submitted for Armenia, Azerbaijan, and I think Bulgaria. So for our EECCA, it will be really important to take it in mind and for the civil society to get prepared for that. So probably that's why we also need this official accreditation. get to be more engaged with this process.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a bit easier to get there from our region than to get to like even the UAE or Sharm el-Sheikh. Thank you. Or Brazil, which will be in 2025. Angelina, please, the floor is yours. I think you can take a bit more minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, and also thank you for inviting me to come and speak this morning. So I've been someone who's been going to the COP since 2008. I think I've missed just one. And in the first few years, I was also registered as an NGO, and I was going through the quotas of registered NGOs, as it was said by Mariam and Evgenia. And in the following years, I was registering myself as a media representative. And I'm going to speak now about how to do this. It's also important that the whole process of media registering is a personal process. You do it as your own, and you do it as a private individual. And I think that's a very important difference. Now, what are the pros and cons of registering as media? On one hand, I find it easier to register, and I also find it easier to get a badge, because I think especially shortly before COP, and all NGOs get information on how many badges they're getting, like the competition is so high. And with the media representative, it's more flexible and it's actually easier. And it's also that I think that there are so few media applications from our region. Honestly, I mean, very often there's almost none from our region registered in at the COP. So the chances are high. If you do have a media accreditation badge, and if you're already inside, there are a few meetings which are open only to people with pink badges, so the official delegations. There are a few meetings which are open to pink badges and media. There are some meetings which are open for pink badges and observers, so the yellow badges. Media get orange badges. And so, yeah, so basically inside you will have access not to everything, not to some of the closed meetings, but to a lot of events. And you will also have access to the media center, which is a special center reserved for the media where you can work, and you have access to computers, good internet connection, also rooms, also quiet rooms where you could do recording, like recording of podcasts. They're all free. You just need to book them in advance. And you also get access to, like they can help you with equipment, they can help you with also video recording, printing is free. So like there are a lot of extra pluses. Now, the question is how you do it. This is, I'll just share the screen now. So basically, as I said, if you get registered as a media representative, you do it on your own. That means you go, I don't have a presentation because I just had to show everything online. So basically you go to this link, which is like the usual UNFCCC online registration. And then you click on the press or media accreditation. And I'm already logged into this, so I think we'll proceed shortly to the account. But basically, you create your own media account. It's well, the first step is, as usual, you give your email address, and then the confirmation code comes, and then you get access to this system, which looks like this. So basically within this system, you are choosing here at the top right corner, you choose which meeting you are being registered. For example, if you choose COP28, the registration is still not open. Basically, for media registration, deadlines vary. I mean, they're not announced yet. you just have to keep following when they announce it. I mean, if you were registered once and you're already on their mailing list, they will send you a notification saying, look, our registration opens. But I would say from my experience, for example, if the meeting now is late November, early December, they will probably open it in like late August, September. But then if there are too many applications, they would close it probably a month before. So I would say a safer bet is to open, like look up for it in September and October and submit your application in September and October as a media representative. So then when you access the system, this whole page will look differently because it will be open. And then once it's open, and then I'll show you with another example, which I have, for example, the previous COP where I want to see. So basically, then you have access to, I mean, this was my previous registration. So this was my registration for the previous COP. And basically you give here all your details, including like your passport number, you upload your passport, you upload also the organization you're applying with your badge from. And basically, so there are 3 elements to it. So the first element is to provide all the personal data. Then the second element is to provide your press card. If you don't have a press card, and especially if you're applying for the first time, it might be suggested that you also send links to the articles which have been which I've produced in the last year on climate topics. And this, as you see, I also did this in my application for COP27. And basically you put a link to an article and you which was published, and you also put a brief description of this article. They usually don't need more than 3. I think there's this requirement that it has to be in one of the UN languages. And if not, you have to provide an interpretation, translation to one of the UN languages. But then sometimes they also take, I mean, I heard it from colleagues, sometimes they also take it from the non-UN languages. For example, like one of this was in German, which is not a UN language. And also, for example, I heard from colleagues from Brazil that they also were submitting materials in Portuguese, which is also not a UN language. So you can also like try doing this. So basically you provide links to your articles, you provide a press card if you have it, if you don't have it, also fine. And then you provide something which is called the letter of assignment. Letter of assignment is a letter from the editorial office of the media you're applying from, saying that they're sending you to this conference and they will be happy to publish your materials. Now, all these links, they don't need to be from the same media that you're applying from and the letter you're getting from. So basically you can also be freelance, like I'm a freelance and I write for many media. And you can provide links for your publications in one kind of media, and then you can get a letter of assignment from another media. But then here you usually put somehow, I mean, it's also like with me, the main organization with which I was applying from, it changed. So many years ago, I started applying from with the Kommersant newspaper, but then ever since that, it's kept in the system, and somehow I always get this in the system. I don't know, this doesn't change. But then I get letter of assignment from various other media, and that's also fine. So basically, once again, what you need, maybe I'll also show one of the previous ones. I know it doesn't show any further. Okay. So basically you need your personal details, which you fill. You need your links to your articles. You need press card if you have it in PDF, and you need letter of assignment. So basically a letter from a registered media organization, which will confirm that they are sending you to the COP and that they will be happy to print your articles, to take your articles. Now, what's really important, it has to be a media organization, and it has to be a registered media organization. They do check it. I once had stories when people were applying for media organizations from the media publications of NGOs, and it didn't work. People got rejected, and people were told, you have to go and register as the media. So the organization needs to be registered, and it needs to be a media in the first place. They actually go and check this. So basically what happens then, after you send all of this registration details, you do it all online and you send it online, and then you wait for, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, and then you have a confirmation of your registration, and it comes to your email box. Once again, it's a personal process. You do it all on your own, and you also get it as a personal confirmation that you, as media representative, are registered for the COP. And then with this letter, if you ever need a visa to go somewhere or something, you can apply for a visa with this letter. But otherwise, this letter already functions as a confirmation, acknowledgement of your registration. And this is how you do it. So that's basically it. It's not super complicated. But once again, you have to have proof that in the last year you published at least 3 articles or like 3 publications on climate topics. They do look at it. Your letter of confirmation and your publications need to come from a registered media organization, which is predominantly and mainly media organization and not NGO organization. I think that's all. I would stop here, and I would be happy to answer any questions we have.
Right, yeah. We can sit here for a bit. If you have any questions, you can use your voice. We already had a short discussion in the chat, just for the people not to be confused, because 31st of July is, if you already are a registered NGO, like EECCA, like, well, Green Alternative, not yet, like Hazir in Armenia, right? You have this registration already. Then until 31st of July, you need to show your interest that you want to go to this COP, and you need to do it every year. We have colleagues who have forgotten to show their interest, to register, and they didn't get, for this particular year, they didn't get any badges. So 31st of July is for those who are already accredited, just to show that they still have interest, they want to go this year. And 31st of August is for all of you who want to have this registration, so who want to apply as an NGO. And for the media, if you do work as a blogger, freelance, and if you have good relationships with a particular registered media, this is easier. You can wait until September, check this system, and then register, as Angelina said. So these are the steps depending on who you are. Nargiza and Evgenia, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your presentation. Actually, I just want to ask that I have many activists from Kyrgyzstan who just interested in this event, and just ask, can they apply? Because they don't have articles, they just activists, and they just so popular in Instagram and in other social medias. But if they apply by themselves, could they just put only their social media, like, instead of articles? Oh no.
That's a good question. I didn't have any experience with this. I mean, they can try, but the thing is, then they would have to have still a letter of support from a media organization, which says it will accept their publications. As a proof that they're doing something, I think, I mean, they can say they're bloggers and they can apply. I can actually ask this question, like I have a direct contact to the UNFCCC media desk. I will ask them, like, whether they have any extra rules for bloggers and what needs to be done. As I said, personally, I haven't had experience with this, but I will ask the UNFCCC media desk.
Thank you. And also, I just want to ask one, like, interesting question about financing for these people. Could they just take financing from UNFCCC, or should they just fund from their organization? Just found some organization in Kyrgyzstan?
No, everyone.
No.
Well, as for journalists, everyone finds their own sources of finance, how to come and how to stay. I mean, there are some programs for journalists which support journalistic participation. In the COPs, for example, that this program of Earth Media Network, Earth Network Journalism, which support participation of journalists from the Global South countries in COPs. I'll send a link to the chat. But otherwise, at the UNFCCC level, everyone is responsible for their own like financial support.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Zhenya?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a small comment. So even if you applied and you still don't have an answer, usually when you're receiving an answer, they're giving you some quotas. So if you will receive the answer like in August or September, it doesn't mean that you would not receive these badges. So they can still allocate you 2 or 3 places, so you'll have a chance to go to the COP. So just try to contact them if you already applied.
Ophelia? Thank you, Angelina, for the link. Ophelia, do you have another question?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead with your question.
Like I'm in a bus. Sorry if my voice is a bit interrupted.
Thank you for joining from the bus.
Yes, I'm actually traveling from Germany to Sweden. Okay. So my first question is like, with my work, I'm as a communication and public outreach expert, and I have this, I'm the media focal point, and I have a lot of publications. So I'm developing the news and the articles, press releases for already 5 years in climate change and many projects. So I'm interested if I can parallelly apply. It's not a media organization, actually it's an international organization. It's the UN, and so I may I apply as a as a UN worker in media, or I should, because I have a good relationship with the accredited media organizations. Sometimes I share like my articles, but I'm not like the direct employed by them. So my question is if I can like represent my organization and then class get this success as a media person, but affiliated with the UN. If not, how can I I can organize this with other media organization with whom I work? Thank you.
I didn't quite get the question. Sorry. So what was the question again? If you can apply for parallelly, both from an NGO and as a media? Was it the question about that?
Yes.
No. No, it's not a good way. It once happened to me that one NGO, actually I think Bellona, put my name into their list. And then I also applied personally as a journalist. And then they contacted me saying, no, you have to choose how you're applying. No, better not to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but also if you have a registered media that can give you this letter of support and you have the articles, as you said, you can apply for press badge. I think it's no problem. And it doesn't I don't think it depends, like you work with the UN institution. I'm not sure it will help in any way, but you can also talk to them. But for the press badge, I think it's irrelevant. So you just go the way that Angelina showed, or you can choose the NGO, and then you will not have the press badge. You will have an observer badge. But you can still do communications work as an observer, so that they don't control anything you actually do when you come. You just get this badge, before, and then you can be an NGO and you can write articles, or you can be a media and you can go to actions. It's not controlled in any way. Mariam?
I got it.
Great.
Thank you, Angelina. Just a brief question. So, as I understood, unlike civil society organizations, that as you get accreditation once, you can apply to attend events anytime. But is it different for, as I understood, it's different for media, right? You have to register before each events. Or it's just if you as a journalist, you get accreditation once, you will have access to every...